Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Moraru. I am the co founder and president of the Community Grocer. Thank you so much for joining us on our talk today. I'm joined here by our amazing team as we share our vision, our story, and really the last 4 years of unlocking the power within. I'm joined here today by my co founder, Alex Imbot. He's the co founder and CEO, a University of Pennsylvania grad, and the co creator of Futures Beyond Refining. I'm also joined by Dr. Chef Aziza Young, who is our culinary director and founder of the People's Kitchen, and Chef Joy Parham, our newest member of the team, our workforce director, and a recent participant in the James Beard Foundation Chef Policy and Advocacy Bootcamp. Today, we'll go over our origins in environmental justice, our exposure and entrance into the food justice space, and our journey and our vision for a stronger, healthier future. Alex, I'd like for you to take it away and share our origins in environmental justice and how we got entered into the food space.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks so much, Eli, for passing the mic. So my name is Alexandre, and I'm the co-founder and the CEO of the Community Grocer, as Eli stated. And together, we're on a journey with all of our neighbors to truly reinvent the corner store and to reimagine nutritional assistance. And from across industries, from soil to supper, doing the work to ensure that every neighborhood has a persistent supply of fresh ingredients, regardless of income or geography. And our work is truly rooted in understanding and celebrating lived experience as expertise and uplifting the stories and the values and the history of neighbors across this country, starting here in Philadelphia, as we uncover what's holding us back from the nutrition access and really building the store of our dreams. And so that work for us started down in South Philly, emerging out of the pandemic, working with neighborhood leaders to co-create new forms of data and to embark on journeys of participatory research in light of the crude oil refinery in South Philly exploding, which for those of you who don't know, it was on the lower Schuylkill River here, the world's oldest refinery since the Civil War and the East Coast largest. We were processing over 330,000 barrels of oil a day here in Philly. And this facility had neighbors along its entire perimeter on the fence living in public housing projects. And going into the summer of 2019, the facility erupted in the biggest mushroom cloud you've ever seen. And as a rising senior, going into my final year at the University of Pennsylvania in a program for environmental management and sustainability, also being just a young person who grew up in DC and first time coming into Philly, coming over the bridge on 95, being greeted with that facility as the welcome to Philadelphia, it was always on my mind. And so seeing that explosion, just reaching out to different professors and trying to connect to understand what happened here in Philly all these years is the core of our work and what brought me out of the university and really into Philly for the first time. And together I was connected with neighborhood leaders through a program in environmental humanities and just working with just small organizations and grassroots organizations that were helping neighbors with every bit of what it means to be part of a community, from after school programs to sports leagues to job fairs to cleanups, just lending the support that we could. And as COVID rolled around and the food boxes, these USDA food boxes started arriving by the pallet load, we were tasked to help distribute and bring them to neighbors. And that's where our journey really started in terms of thinking with ingredients and time and rituals and relationship with food as it related to transforming raw ingredients into meals. You can imagine us standing on the corner of 30th and Moore in South Philly every winter during COVID, under lockdown, helping to distribute these food boxes arriving by the pallet load. And just having that time to think with our neighbors about the role of rituals and ingredients and relationships with food, and the reality that the government was sending cardboard boxes full of bulk ingredients that didn't add up to recipes every week and expecting them to transform into ingredients, into meals magically somehow. That really got us thinking about, what are the stores where our neighbors are able to go to find their food? And what would it require to complete the recipe in this circumstance? And for so many of our neighbors, just that the grocery store was either 2 buses away and the buses weren't coming. And so it wasn't really an option. But they were going to the corner store, which here in Philly, we have over 3,000 independently operated corner stores that primarily sell chips and soda, and most of that lack complete kitchens. That our neighbors were going to this category of retailer to spend their, at the time, double pandemic EBT and their SNAP benefits on the limited options that they had in the stores, primarily chips and soda. And so thinking with the SNAP policy and diving into how is it possible that our neighbors across this country are able to have ultra processed foods, but not prepared foods, and that our young people can go into a corner store and buy Skittles with their SNAP benefits, but not scrambled eggs. That we set out on trying to identify what is a new way forward with SNAP policy that meets neighbors in their routine, that can ensure a persistent supply of the food that our neighbors are looking for in a way that meets them in their routines. And so we opened up the Farm Bill, and we found the pages of the Farm Bill governing SNAP policy. And we're reading through it on intention and premises and preparation and consumption. And what about this policy is allowing Skittles to be purchased for breakfast, but not scrambled eggs? What about this policy is enabling ultra processed foods to be considered eligible, but not prepared? And what is the work that a retailer could, in theory, do to open up a different supply of ingredients for neighbors to begin to build pathways towards transforming them? And so we came up with a few questions in the Farm Bill. And we cold emailed the Harvard Food Law and Policy Clinic during COVID, and just asking about, the you buy, we fry clauses written straight on the FNS website, and a couple other questions within the policy, and whether or not we could build the store of our dreams, wherein we had a retailer in the front half of a building that sold an all-day menu from smoothies and breakfast sandwiches and dinner platters and family platters that were sold as the itemized list of ingredients in a pre-chopped and marinated recipe. And on the other side of a wall, no longer in the retailer, could we put up a community-run kitchen where neighbors would be able to trade those kits for one that's hot and ready after leaving the store? And what would those questions look like within the context of the Farm Bill? And the Harvard Food Law and Policy Clinic came back to us and they said, give us the summer, we'll get you a memo. And that was the beginning of the journey, as we're now almost 4 years later into just about ready to launch our first location in West Philly.
Knowing that food apartheid is disproportionately affecting our low-income communities of color, especially here in Philadelphia. I mean, the statistics are unwavering. They are getting worse by the day, with more and more of our neighbors nutrition and food insecure. In Philadelphia, we have over 500,000 residents receiving SNAP benefits, but again, with very little access to true nutrition that meets them in their routines. And that this is a problem that is affecting all of us. So when we got that approval from Harvard, and it was the first step of the journey, and we said we need to reach out to someone to help us bring this vision to life. And we cold reached out to Dr. Z. And Z, I would love for you to jump in and just share with, that first time we reached out to you and what was going on in your mind as you're driving through Philadelphia and experiencing and seeing all these statistics, but in our daily lives.
2 weeks before I got a message from Eli on Instagram, I was literally coming home and I was at the stop sign and I was looking at the corner store and saying to myself, I wish we could have healthier options in our neighborhoods, and of course using SNAP benefits, because at the corner stores, like you said, all you can get is junk food. You can get chips, you can get soda, you can get juice. You can get everything but something healthy and nutritious and sustainable. And I was just like, and I drove home and that was still on my mind. And it was just like, well, how can I do that? And then literally 2 weeks later, I got a message from Eli saying, hey, my name is Eli. I have an idea and I would like to collaborate with you. And I said, okay. I believe that God just puts people in the right place at the right time for you. You know what I mean? So it was just like, he putting the pieces, basically I just thought of it. He just put the puzzle pieces together. He had he had two men that had already thought about this, already started the process. And then here I was, and he was just like, all right, now I'm going to fit you in there.
And on that, right, our mission is to make eating well easier for all. It is a community-led and driven approach that, again, we are reinventing the corner store, yeah, but we're doing it not in the view of Alex and me, but really in all of our neighbors, that we envision a future. We have healthier, stronger, and more resilient communities built from within, that we can promote nutrition security, we can improve health outcomes, and bring communities together from soil to supper through the daily rituals of food. And it's in that, as we make eating well easier for all, it takes all of us. And when we reached out to Z, it was faith, it was fate, it was everything that brought us together. And here we are, still bringing this vision to life. And on that, our values are some of the most important things to us. And the first one that comes into our pillars, it's a belief that everyone is an expert in their own lived experience, in the systems of their lives. That this model didn't come to us because we had a top-down approach. It came from being with neighbors every single day and asking them, what is the dream store that you could envision? That we are reinventing the corner store to feed our communities. We are a nonprofit retailer. Our mission is not to make money. Our mission is to ensure nutrition access for all. But knowing that our neighbors don't always have working kitchens, don't have time, I barely have time, that we have to ensure the pathways towards preparation by bringing in the community resources for anyone, whether you're on SNAP or not, to walk away with a delicious, hot, nutritious meal. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, we're reinvesting directly into our community. We are doing everything in our power as a nonprofit to keep our money within, to uplift our communities from within, and really build a vision that supports everyone. So on that note, Joy, I'd like to introduce you and let you take over as our workforce director to kind of share how the Community Grocer is not only expanding nutrition access and really community empowerment, but a pathway towards economic opportunity for all.
Yeah, so at the Community Grocer, the goal is to basically keep everybody from the community involved. So with that, a lot of the hiring will be done from locals, from the people that we have on board as hourly employees, all the way down to the youth that come through for summer job training, and then local residents that come to us for pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship training through the Community Grocer. So a lot of that will just take a lot of patience and scheduling, honestly, but it can and will be done. And the beautiful thing about that is with these different tiers of job training at TCG, we're able to place people in different positions for job training that traditionally we're not able to do in the area. So we're thinking bigger than just food-based learning. In real time, how they're able to expand their SNAP benefits. So we're able to educate you at work. You're able to have a better idea of how to utilize your SNAP benefits, and then you're able to take home quality ingredients and create new experiences for your household as well.
And Z, on the same line of thinking here, in terms of creating the store of our dreams and unlocking the potential of the SNAP dollar in our neighborhoods by, collectively taking our purchasing power as a neighborhood and getting that supply of fresh ingredients and preparing it into that last step that a retailer is able to do before it's considered prepared. And then transforming that next door in the community apprenticeship kitchen into a transformed meal. Can you talk a little bit about the journey and the work and the inspiration within menu and product offering and how we're, setting that path to continually build with our neighbors, what it is we'll be selling? Awesome.
For sure. So when creating a menu, one, we will be working with our local farmers, local vendors to supply the food for TCJ. As far as how the menu came up and what was the inspiration, the neighborhood was the inspiration. It is the inspiration, not was, but the neighborhood is the inspiration for the menu. We talk to the neighbors about what they want, what they want to see. It comes from the neighborhood. It comes from my background of food, and we just and like I said, and I started working with local farmers during the pandemic. When we was working with when I started the People's Kitchen, and then moving forward with everybody East Philly, and then just working with them and getting to know them better, and finding out that there were farms in Philadelphia and farmers in Philadelphia in places that we never even knew about. So to have local farms, local farmers, local vendors working with us, it's like I don't know, it's empowering. It's empowering, and that's honestly what TCG is also about. It's about empowering the people that in the neighborhood and empowering the people that will be coming there, whether they live in the neighborhood, whether they don't live in the neighborhood, because everyone is going to know who TCG is and what we're about. Basically, I want to provide healthy, sustainable, meals, or we want to provide. It's not an I thing. We want to provide healthy, sustainable meals and work with our local farmers and vendors.
Looking towards the future, we have shared today a model, right, that is we're reinventing the corner store. We're working in full compliance with federal policy to ensure that our most food insecure neighbors have access to nutrition, have the empowering new piece of community infrastructure that brings people together and provides incredible workforce development opportunities and is sustainable, delicious, and built from within. So on that note, for everyone on this panel today, what is one thing you were looking forward to and one takeaway you wish that everyone listening today could have? Alex, I'll start with you.
Start with me. All right. We're in the final stretch of building this first store, and it's a 4-year journey in the making. Every day, working together with our neighbors across generations and backgrounds to dream about what we wish we had from nutrition access and to make it happen. And so as I look forward to receiving the building and taking delivery from contractors and the initial job training and the initial, I think I'm most looking forward to setting the bar with all of our neighbors and the expectation of what this first store needs to be for us. And how are we going to document and learn and translate and share that with neighborhoods across the country. So the sky's the limit, as I've said before. But I can't wait to see the first piece of produce on the shelf in the store.
Z, same question to you.
I'm just looking forward to the opening day, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everything goes. I know everything is going to go amazingly well, and I know this is going to be something that, this won't be the first, and this won't be the first TCG. This is just one of many more to come. I'm looking for, I can't describe it. Let me just say that. I can't describe it. It's an emotional of waves. And then what I would want people to take away from this is TCG is a concept that hadn't been done before, and is being birthed right before everyone's eyes. And everyone talks about eating healthy and eating well and sustainability, and you have something right here. You have people right here that are doing that. So,
Joy, same questions to you.
So what I look forward to actually is I have this belief that food can be a radical thing, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I love being the disruptor in the room. Every room needs a disruptor, and I think what TCG is doing is already shaking up the room and forcing conversations that a lot of people, city officials, lawmakers, and things like that just didn't want to have in the past. And it's going to force everyone to really reevaluate how they're bringing items into communities to share with neighbors. We're forcing a change. We're forcing conversations, and I'm excited to be someone on the forefront of that because, I'm ready to respond, and not just with words, but with activeness. And the Community Grocer is, like Z said, really just putting that on the forefront. The store and everything that is being talked about is being built every day, literally brick by brick, beam by beam. And I'm excited to sit down and have a conversation about this 5 years from now, and just to talk about the changes that were actually made from just shaking up the room and being disruptors. Disruptors are good, I think disruptors are good. I think we're great disruptors. So that's what I look forward to.
Well, thank you all for joining us today on our journey that has been 4 years in the making. We are the Community Grocer. We are reinventing the corner store and reimagining nutritional assistance to make eating well easier for all. My one takeaway for everyone to have today is that we can and we have to do better, and that we are working every day to provide our neighbors with the store of their dreams. That this is a vision where so many people have said no, that it's impossible to have farm fresh and nutritious ingredients that meet our neighbors in their routines. And we said, we're going to build it, and we're going to build it together. And that if we do it together, there's nothing we can't do. And my one takeaway and my one last ask is for you to stay up to date with us. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on social media, come for a hard hat tour. And if you're able, please make a donation to bring our vision to life. Thank you all.